If a potential subject is looking at your previous body of work, Asif, they might look at Amy, your Amy Winehouse documentary, and see that this is a warts and all movie. So with Maradona, this was not going to be some sort of glowing portrait of him. How did you take that into account as you were sort of negotiating that relationship?
It's a really interesting question because with Diego Maradona, he happened to be a big fan of Ayrton Senna. So it was actually the film I made previously. He'd seen Senna and had loved it. And the two of them were at their peak around the same time. So when Maradona was playing football in Italy in the 80s, Senna was racing cars at the same time. So when we were doing our research, I never thought about this, but on one page would be Ayrton Senna winning a race, and the next page would be Diego Maradona winning a championship at the same time. So he really liked Senna as a man. Also, I think partly because he was like the other Brazilian. He wasn't Pelé. He was like one of his rivals, I guess. And so Amy helped us in a peculiar way when my producers were doing the deal with Maradona's people. Amy went on this kind of awards run and won an Oscar. And so he posted on his Facebook page a picture of me with the Oscar, sort of saying, this guy just won an Oscar, his next film's about me. Now, so it's funny enough, actually, he hadn't seen the film, he just knew, okay, this kind of makes him legitimate, and therefore he should be making my story. I don't think he'd seen the film until I started interviewing him. And then I think he and his girlfriend watched it, and perhaps then they got a little bit nervous once they saw the movie and realised, actually, this is going to get heavy at times. Her story did. So funnily enough, he is kind of part Ayrton Senna and part Amy Winehouse as a character. He's this Latin American macho hero, but also very vulnerable. And that's not the way he's been seen before. So the characters that I'm interested in, Senna, Amy, are kind of fighting the establishment. That's his part of it is, wherever he goes, he's like the poor guy. He's from a really tough place, so he's always wants to fight against the rich, wealthy North, in Italy's case. And so a lot of it is fighting against corruption with Senna. With Amy, it was against the media. So I'm quite interested in the people kind of almost struggling to beat the power.
That's part of their motivation of who what keeps them going.
Characters that interest me
Certainly
often are those
Diego,
sorts of people,
Editing is writing. I mean, you don't know necessarily what what it's going to be. I mean, and Asif, you've done this in your films.
I've got an amazing editor, Chris King, who's really tough. I think that's really what I love, working with a really tough editor. He works. I'm in the same room with my own Avid, but I'm always looking ahead. So I'm letting him cut, and then everything happens at the same time. So we're shooting, we're doing interviews, we're still doing research while we're cutting. There's never a kind of neat where one stage starts and another stage begins. So I'll be off traveling. In our case, our lead character was living in Dubai. The story takes place in the south of Italy, and most of the interviews happen in Buenos Aires. So while I'm off traveling, he's cutting. And then I would come in and review things, and he's really hardcore on the material, which is what I like. And we don't always agree. And I think that's part of the fun of it. That's really important to have people that are going to push you and to see things a new way. I guess there was a moment of working on Senna, was the first documentary that I made, and just having a moment of kind of falling in love with the imperfections in the footage and just having an instinct that somehow there's a way of connecting all of this material to tell a story that is truthful and honest. And actually working in fiction films, you spend a lot of time trying to create some sort of truth. And this idea that it might already exist if you can just find a way to edit it and construct it and use all of the cheats that you have in fiction film, music and sound and obviously cutting, editing. So somehow this hybrid, I've always been interested in a hybrid when I was doing fiction films, of something that is somewhere in between documentary and fiction, but also for me, making them feel like movies. And therefore that idea of playing something that would have been perhaps available for free on TV on a big screen, and getting people to go to the cinema and experience it. Formula One was free. Everyone saw it on TV. People, Amy, that material's out there. Football, it was free on TV. It's all on YouTube. People, often the challenge was, why would anyone want to pay money to go and watch this? Well, it's like, well, we're going to put it together in a way. It's almost like pop art is the way I've started to think about it. These are pop cultural icons that already exist. You think you know everything. But if you somehow reframe it and look at it in a slightly different angle, there is a deeper meaning here to these characters and stories that say something about the world that we're living in.